Good morning. We're here this morning at the Kingsport Senior Center. We're here with Doug Clark, and he's going to be talking with us today about winterizing your home. Good morning, Doug. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. You've seen me with my mask. She's 12 foot away. I want to start with the most common leak in your home. It's around doors and windows. There are several ways that you can repair. Most of the older homes have got real loose windows. There is a real small version of the square tape that you see here that's adhesive, and you take a small strip and put it here at the bottom. Will keep air coming out. Around these, well, let me stop. You can check for leaks around your windows different ways. If you're a smoker, use cigarette smoke. I use incense, little incense sticks, and you just hold it up and watch for the air to blow. It works better on windy days, but you can see air movement because that coal is trying to leach into your home. Around the facings, this is the facing on the window. This crack between the sheetrock or the wall covering is a real good place, because in behind this facing is a hollow place that they don't normally insulate. So you can caulk around all your doors and windows. That facing will eliminate a lot. At our home, my wife has found these drapes that are heavy that will keep, if you hold your hand, maybe in a warm room, hold your hand up to a window, you'll feel the cold radiating in, just like heat radiating away from a heater. So we cover our windows, close the drapes every night with this cold shield. And it makes a big difference in our house in the morning when we get up, because there's nobody moving around to stir the warm air. On extremely cold days, we leave those closed, especially on the shaded side of the house. And you can tell a big difference in your home. And they're special, they're labeled, and you can get them for the heat cold shield. So that's what we use in our house. Filling up gaps. You can find a gap just anywhere. Insulation, any sizes. You can get it from 1/4 inch to 1/4 by half. This is for air conditioners. When you put an air conditioner in your window, to seal in between the sashes where it doesn't completely close. You can buy great stuff. There's 3 kinds now, and you have to be extremely careful what you buy. This red can, if you put it in anything, it is strong enough that it will bow 2x4s in a vertical wall. And when you put it in, make 2 applications. The first application to let it spread out, and then the next one to fill anything is. If you put it all in at once to fill the entire gap as you go, it's going to expand, and I have seen it being 2x4s. If you put it in around your windows when the facing is off, it'll squeeze in and you can't open and close your windows. This is a new one. Oh, I took my glasses off because of this fogged up. This is for extremely large gaps, but you do it the same way. Put in an application, let it swell up, and then repeat, because you do not want it to expand until it distorts. This blue one is especially for windows and doors, where you put it in under wherever you want to put it, and it does not expand. Put it in one application and go back and completely fill it up, but it doesn't expand to the point that these other 2 do. It's a lot safer to use around windows and doors, and that's why they sell it for windows and doors.
And Doug, what's the name of that product?
This is called Great Stuff. Oh, and let me put a plug in. I am a 100% user of Lowe's system. Some Lowe's stores are better than others, but I can guarantee you, if you go to the West Kingsport store, you will find associates that are more than willing to help you do anything. It's one of the nicest stores I've ever been in, so that's why I spend $45,000 to $50,000 a year there. All right, that's around your windows and doors. This is another item for doors, and when you buy a pre-hung door, which most houses have, you'll see this rubber thing. It's flexible and everything around the doors. If the dog chews it up, or you tear it up for any reason at all, these are replaceable. Most of the time, it's got a little flange on it that you pull the old one out and you slide this one right back in. If you can't do that, I use a regular stapler. You know, a staple gun is strong enough to penetrate wood. I staple it in place. But this is, it comes in white and brown, depending on what color house door you have. And those are great because they're stiff and they stand up. These softer ones don't stand up as much, a lot of use. You rub across them, you know, they get old and that sort of thing. If you've got extremely big gaps that you can't put insulation or anything in, they've got ropes. You cram this rope in, then you caulk over the top of it. This stuff, the great stuff, is very messy and you have to be extremely careful. It'll stick to anything. And after 25 washings, I don't have any on now, but I've got work clothes that stuff is still on there like it's a rubber shield. But this is to fill in cracks and then you caulk over the top of it. Light switches. Can you switch over here? These light switches are mounted inside your wall. They have a little box. In an ideally insulated house, the insulation in there will be cut out and fit right behind that so that it'll stop airflow. Insulation has a tendency to, if you compress it any at all, you lose your insulation value. In South Carolina, when they do a home inspection, I was over there on the disaster recovery from Michael, I believe it was, and the insulation inspector of the house we had to replace after a flood came in and he made us cut so that would fit snug. Most insulators will just cram it in behind that. And when you cram it in behind, it loses its insulation value. They have these light switch sealers. These are little white things. You get them at Lowe's and they have punch outs. You take this off, you put it in behind and screw it right back on and it stops the airflow. When you use your incense or your cigarette smoke, check your light switches and your outlets. They have these for outlets too. Well, because of the nature of stud construction, you've got a hollow place they put insulation in. But at the bottom or the top, where they have run wires or pipes, you have a hole. Air can get into there and get in the wall, and it will try to come out any opening it can find, just like water. And you use things like this to stop that airflow. Let me give you a word of warning. When you seal up your house, airtight, saving a lot of heat, be careful of what type of heating system you use. Electric heat doesn't do it, but gas or oil or natural gas, it burns up oxygen. A lot of older homes that have gas furnaces want some air leakage in because you're going to breathe. If you find yourself getting headaches or coughing as if you can't breathe, you have got a CO buildup that's going to kill you. That's what happens to a lot of people that have space heaters sitting in the middle of their floor and uses the old oil wick things. They will burn up all the oxygen in the room. Never bring your charcoal grill in because it's going to burn up oxygen. To get that flame, you've got to have oxygen. And when you don't have oxygen, you die. Let's go to pipes. Oh, this great stuff. is ideal when you punch a hole in the wall, punch a hole in the floor to bring a pipe through. The city inspectors just check to make sure of the neatness and that you've got a guard on it that you can't drive a nail through. But that hole in the floor where the pipes come through and everything, or the wire, is an air source that lets air get in behind your wall that comes out there. You can use this great stuff to fill those cracks and holes. Your pipes. This is a sleeve that opens up. This is for a 1/2-inch copper pipe. You can get it bigger. Cover all of your pipes with something. If they're exposed in your crawl space or in your basement where it could get cold, put this on it. Like I said, it comes in 6 and 8 foot lengths, and you just pull it. It's got 2 pieces of paper here. You pull this cellophane type stuff off and pull it together, and it glues itself together to keep air out. It has fittings. This is for an elbow. They work together. When you put it together, take some duct tape or black tape and tape it, because you don't want air to get in. And these are split too the same way with the same, but it'll seal itself, but it won't seal where it's joined together. And any air, cold air can get in here, you're gonna freeze. About pipes, we are starting, and it's getting more and more prevalent, that you use plastic, PVC or CPVC or stuff like that. If you're in an older home that has been upgraded, you put in a new water heater, or you've done anything that you've started using pieces of plastics, be careful about getting someone to come with a welder to thaw your pipes. I don't know how it's going to work when you get that pipe hot enough with a welder, which is passing electrical current through it, just like the red heating element in your wall heater. It might melt that plastic. We don't know. I've never run into that, but it's a caution that I want to tell you about. If you have exposed pipes that are subject to freezing, I've got one house that I take care of that's got a water line that comes out of the ground, comes up overhead right over a basement window, and absolutely no heat down there. I put a heat tape on it. It's got a thermostat. You can buy these at Lowe's too. You can get them in any length. So this one is 12 foot. And you just attach it to the bottom of the pipe and plug it into a 110 outlet. And if the temperature on that pipe gets so low, this little thermostat will kick it on, and it'll keep your pipe warm. It can be exposed in the basement. You put it out in the weather. If you've got a pipe going up the side of your house like I do at one of my apartments, I have put insulation around it, and that has been sealed with tape and everything. And I've got the heat tape underneath, and I've run it close enough to an outlet, one end, that all she does is plug it in when the temperature is going to be below 32 degrees for 3 or 4 days. And it saved her a lot of inconvenience. And underneath a lot of houses and crawl spaces, the pipes are exposed. We've got one mobile home that has been set up on a permanent basis, and it uses 3/8-inch copper tubing to run all of the water lines, and they're just laying on top of the ground. We have had to go in and insulate that because that copper is not going to stand up to the temperature very much. So you have to do something about that. I have heard that some people have automatic thermostats that it cools off at night and then it kicks up. That, I guess, is a good thing, but I have never seen any data showing where you're saving any money. It takes twice as much energy to warm back up than it does to maintain. So you want to be careful about whichever way you want to do it. If you like to sleep cool at night, go right ahead. But at our home, we like to maintain it at a constant 70 degrees. And it's a lot more comfortable for us. We have a lot fewer colds and things like that. And that is about all. If you want to see this again, or you got more questions of an area or anything, Just let the people here at the Senior Citizens, we'll do it on plumbing, we'll do it on commodes, we'll do it on whatever you want. So just let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.